Mr. Meneses, thank you for joining us. You're Vice President, Head of Sustainability at Air Liquide. You came for France especially for this forum. I wanted to make a point with you on the development of the hydrogen society here in Japan. The government is pushing for it. Air Liquide, you're part of a huge alliance with car makers and other operators. Where do we stand in terms of stations and in terms of car or other solution? Do you see Japan ahead of the rest of the Asian market or ahead of Europe on this development?
Well, thank you for the question. So yes, we are part of actually two alliances, one at world scale and another one specifically here in Japan. So at world scale, we are member of the Hydrogen Council, and actually we co-chair this council together with Toyota. Now this council has 60 members who together try to push the hydrogen economy towards the public authorities and civil society. And so we really see an acceleration of this hydrogen economy across the world. Now, if we want to look at Japan more in particular, last year was created JHYME, so Japan Hydrogen Mobility, which today regroups, I think, around 20 different companies, and which has been created together with the METI ministry. And the intent of this is really to push this hydrogen mobility in the country. In terms of filling station in Japan, I don't have the exact number, but I think we are getting close to 100 filling stations across the country. More particularly for Air Liquide, we currently have 12 refueling stations in Japan, and we aim to have, through this JHYME program, 26 stations moving forward. Talking about cars, currently Japan has about 3,000 hydrogen cars running in the country. Mostly Toyota cars, and Toyota has announced that they will go from 3,000 car per year production to 30,000 car per year production next year. So the acceleration is here, and we have great confidence that this market will expand.
How do you see the public opinion adopting this idea of hydrogen? You know, in Japan we have those strong standards. When you go to your fueling station, you cannot refill your car by yourself because they say it's more dangerous. The cost of building a refilling station in hydrogen here is much more expensive than a conventional gas station. So how do you see the public opinion here in Japan and maybe in France evolving on this idea of an hydrogen society and hydrogen as a safe and efficient solution? Yeah, there is a kind of myth around hydrogen. Everybody thinks that it's dangerous. Probably because in the 1930s there was an accident of hydrogen with a Zeppelin that burnt. But actually what not many people know is that people who died from this accident were actually the one who jumped from the Zeppelin and not the one who stayed in the Zeppelin. But that's all the story. Hydrogen is now really safe to operate. I mean, we have an experience in hydrogen operation at Air Liquide for more than 40 years. So we really know how to operate this. We are, with other partners, developing storage for the cars who are really safe. I mean, these storage are able to stand 700 bar of gas pressure. So when you have crash tests with hydrogen cars, what you see is that actually the reservoir is the last piece standing after the crash. Okay, so that's something that we need to really communicate about with the civil society, ensure that we do enough teaching about hydrogen, and we are working with authorities, with METI also to, I would say, lower the standards for operating fueling station. Two things, as you said, trying to decrease the amount of investment required to build a new filling station, so decreasing size of the wall, distances, etc. But also trying to get the approval for unmanned operation of this filling station. So it's going, I would say, in the right direction. Air Liquide has been recognized by the Japanese authorities as being, I would say, a reference in this field, and so we get the attention of the authority on this topic. Where does Japan stand in Asia, if I compare with South Korea and China in building this hydrogen economy? I have the feeling that those three governments are pushing a lot of public money to develop that. Where should we look? Where do you see the fantastic experience?
That's a very good question. Korea is also very active, and same as Japan, they have, I would say, makers who are also pushing hydrogen solution. Hyundai is one of them. Actually, just a couple of weeks ago, the explorer Bertrand Piccard has beaten a distance record with an hydrogen car, a Hyundai car, close to 800 kilometers with just one filling of the reservoir. And there is an incentive from the Korean government to buy hydrogen cars. So we see, I would say, probably a later start in Korea, but the fastest acceleration for Korea. Now China, it's just another dimension. The Chinese government just a few months ago announced that by 2030 they want to have 1 million hydrogen car running in China. And actually they are moving subsidies that they previously gave to battery cars towards hydrogen cars. So we know that in China it's going to go fast. We just announced at Air Liquide a few weeks ago a partnership with Sinopec, who will help us in the retail part of the distribution of hydrogen to work together and to accelerate our growth in the hydrogen mobility in China.
Where do we stand in France if we compare to those three countries? How many hydrogen cars are actually on the roads in France at the moment?
I would say a few hundred cars.
A few hundred.
With a specificity in Paris, where Air Liquide has developed a partnership with a company called Hype, who runs taxis, hydrogen taxis. Okay, and so today they have about 100 taxis, with the objective of having 600 taxis by the end of next year. Running in Paris, mostly actually Toyota Mirai taxis, and so this I would say is a good example of a closed loop economy around hydrogen, because you only need a few filling stations to be able to run these taxis. The interest also is the flexibility of hydrogen. You can fill the taxi in 5 minutes. And so these taxis are being run 3 times 8 hours per day by 3 different persons. So it's a business model that is sustainable, I would say. But apart from that, it takes some time to develop the infrastructure in France. We received good and positive signal from the French government recently, who actually visited our innovation campus in Paris just a couple of weeks ago. So Bruno Le Maire and Elisabeth Borne were in our campus together with other industrial companies to talk about the hydrogen economy in France. And in recent announcement, Bruno Le Maire said that he wants to reinforce the support to electric mobility, not only batteries but also hydrogen. So we see good signals that probably the hydrogen business and economy in France will also accelerate in the coming years.
Mr. Meneses, thank you very much.
Thank you.